So you never want to be in the position of saying that your season is on the line with game number 4, but given the way the Sabres have started, given the negativity around the team, and given the way they seem to be preparing for it, the season may very well be on the line Wednesday night in Buffalo against Ottawa. Hey y'all, I'm Chris, this is the Sabre-Cast, and we have a lot to get to today. We're looking ahead to our Wednesday night matchup with the Ottawa Senators, a very, very important game, really for both teams, but especially for Buffalo, because it does represent an opportunity for Buffalo to kind of reset their season as they start a run through the Atlantic Division. The Sabres also have a lot of injury news and notes. Some guys may be coming back into the lineup, and a very, very big, healthy scratch, which seems to be on the horizon as well. So we'll get into all of that. But let's start off with the injury news and notes there, because that has been the point of the most concern here in the early going this season. So let's take a look at what we know about injury. So as of Tuesday, Zach Benson returned to practice. It was his first time to practice since last Wednesday when he took the puck to the face, which would result in him being hospitalized in kind of a freak situation. He was wearing a face shield and a non-contact jersey, but everything seems, as long as there's no setback in between now and Wednesday, and obviously we got a fingers crossed for that because been a lot of setbacks with this team this year. He should be able to play his first game of the year against Ottawa, and that opens up a lot of offensive possibilities perhaps for that top line. It'll certainly make the top line better. At the same time, this is not news that'll help us against Ottawa, but Jordan Greenway was skating for the first time this season since his off-season surgery. There's no timeline in place, but he needs to obviously ramp up his activities before he's going to get into an NHL game. But maybe by the end of the month, we could see him in action. And UPL also made a surprise appearance back at practice, probably earlier than on anybody's timeline. But he's practicing and skating with the Sabres now. Lindy Ruff did mention that they could send him down for a rehab start, maybe in Rochester, for kind of a rehab assignment, because he only played the 20 minutes in the preseason, so they kind of want to build him back up. Makes a lot of sense there. The other injury piece here is Mattias Samuelsson, who missed the game against Colorado with an injury. He may play Wednesday. He may not play Wednesday. He's not been ruled out. But it is worth mentioning that in terms of the practice lines, there was no Samuelsson as he was not out there. The lines that were skated at practice tell us a lot, and we're going to find a little bit of information about this here that's kind of interesting. So go through the practice lines they threw out on Tuesday. The top line was Thompson centering Benson and Tuck, so it looks like Thompson's going to stick in at that center role. The second line was McLeod with Zucker and Doan. McLeod's going to have to figure out how to win some faceoffs. He's only won 34.1% of his faceoffs so far this year, winning 15 out of 44 draws. It's simply not good enough, especially for a guy you want as your second line center. The third line is Danforth centering Krebs and Quinn. Danforth has been the best faceoff guy for the Sabres this year, winning 57.1% of the draws. He hasn't shown up really on the score sheet yet, but no Sabres have. But Danforth has provided some of the better. So that's, I think, a good spot for him to be in. The fourth line is going to be the same as it was against Colorado. Kozak centering Dunn and Malenstein. That was a very good line for the Sabres. They did what they needed to do, which was bring the energy. And so, obviously, Lindy Ruff will be hoping for a repeat performance from them tomorrow against Ottawa. The practice fifth line was Kulich, Greenway, and Gertson. It's interesting to see Kulich down there, which means he's probably in line for a healthy scratch. He was criticized by Lindy Ruff in the press conference, talking about how his interior skating has simply not been good enough. They need more out of him, and they're going to give him maybe a healthy scratch. And I think the only reason it's him and not necessarily McLeod, well, there's a couple reasons. First of all, McLeod has more pedigree. Second reason, McLeod is better and more useful on the penalty kill. It's a really unfortunate thing for Kulich because I think Kulich had a good preseason, and I think they have not given Kulich any stability. He's been moved all over the place. Now, maybe that's because they don't like how he's playing, but it could also be a product of the people around him. There's been enough bad to go around, but at some point the axe is going to fall on somebody, and right now it seems that Kulich is in the doghouse, so he may very well be a healthy scratch for the game against Ottawa. You can't blame them for trying to pull levers when nothing is working in particular, but I don't know where you put him. Really, it's him or McLeod at this point, and you're not going to take McLeod out because of the penalty killing, as I said. So I understand the move, and hopefully he gets an opportunity. When he gets his next opportunity, hopefully he performs better than he has to start this year. On the other side, on the defensive side, the top pairing was Byram Dahlin. Second pairing was Power Timmins. Third pairing was Johnson Bryson. Notable that Mattias Samuelsson is not listed there. They may be giving him another game. Goalies are still going to be Lyon and Ellis, but Luukkonen did skate as well, but he's a long way away from starting. I do not believe they will give Ellis his first start in this game. I think they really are trying to win. This is a very important game to try to win here against Ottawa. So I would imagine that Lyon will be in net again. No idea when Ellis is going to get his first start. I was thinking this game may have been where they lined it up. But given the circumstances around the team, I think it's difficult to give him that start. They may end up giving him one of the Maple Leaf games because that's the first back-to-back the team plays. I have no idea. So we'll see how that goes with Ellis. It's something to keep track of. But there's been no indication when he may or not play. We don't actually know for sure that Lyon's going to start tomorrow, but I cannot imagine, given the importance of this game, that he will not be in goal. So, those are the lineups. The Kulich thing's a little bit interesting to unpack. The injury stuff is a little bit interesting to unpack. It's good to see that Greenway is back skating. I think when Greenway comes back, he's going to provide a lot to this team in terms of a veteran presence, in terms of just kind of helping to stabilize things, bring some physicality to the team. I think it's going to be a really big thing. Also, anytime you get a guy back, that's one lesser player that you have to dress. And so that just makes your team all the way deeper as a result. The Kulich scratch is really interesting to me, but I understand it could be trying to send a message. Though I think if you wanted to send a message, you scratch McLeod, because I think that would tell everybody that nobody is safe. But if they're really unhappy with Kulich's play, then it makes sense. I'm not going to question that decision too much. So, I mean, that's where the Sabres are at. We know where the Sabres are at, right? They're in a really tough spot. They have 2 goals through 3 games. It's by far the worst in the league. Is there anything, when we look at the macro statistics, that the Sabres can kind of hang their hat on? If there's one thing that we can say that the Sabres have done particularly well this year, it has been killing penalties. They are at 100% kill rate, which is obviously going to be tied for top in the league. Other numbers, actually they've done a decent job of staying out of the box. They're in the middle of the pack in terms of penalty minutes with only 8.7. As far as everything else, there's really nothing you can hang your hat on. They're middle of the pack in shots for, with 29.3 per game, but in terms of everything else, they are bottom or near bottom. So they've also allowed 33.7 shots per game, which is 29th. And of course, the goals is the problem. 0.67 goals per game, only 2 goals through 3 games. That is far and away the worst in the league. The next closest team in terms of that, so coming into Tuesday night's action, would be, who have played 3 games, would be Utah with 5 goals over 3 games played. So even the next worst team to Buffalo has 3 more goals. It's not great when you think about it. So what does that mean? And obviously in terms of standings, Buffalo's at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. Coming into Tuesday night's action, you had Ottawa, Tampa Bay, and Toronto all have 2 points. And then Detroit, Montreal have 4 points. Boston and Florida at the top of the division with 6 points. And so you have Ottawa coming in, a team that is 1-2, a team that is 2 points on the season, a team that got off to a good start, beating Tampa Bay in their opener in a high-scoring affair, 5-4, but then got absolutely housed by Florida 6-2, and then got destroyed in their home opener by Nashville 4-1. And along with being destroyed by Nashville in their home opener, they lost their captain, Brady Tkachuk, for a few weeks with a wrist injury. So the Senators are not in a good place right now either. And whereas the Sabres cannot score, the Senators cannot keep the puck out of their goal. They've allowed 14 goals across 3 games. And among teams that have played 3 games coming into Tuesday night, that is the worst mark across the entire league. The only team that's surrendered more goals have been the Los Angeles Kings, who have given up 16 goals in 4 games. So they're having a very tough time. Linus Ullmark has been quite bad to start the year. Probably not all on him, but when you have a goals against of 4 and a save percentage of .842 through 3 games, that's not gonna help you very much. Obviously, their defense as a whole would need to improve, but it's one of those interesting things where you see like Ullmark has those numbers, he has a win, and then Alex Lyon with his .919 save percentage and 2.73 goals against is winless because the team in front of him can't score. That's why wins are not a good stat to track goalies by. So, it's the Sabres, the very stoppable force, versus the Senators, the very movable object. Who's going to prevail? Well, that's what we have to find out. What does this game mean for Buffalo? Well, I think it means a lot. If you lose this game, if you're Buffalo, you're 0-4, and I don't know where your next win's coming, because you have Florida coming in on Saturday, then you have to go to Montreal on Monday, and then you have the Detroit Red Wings at home on Wednesday, and then 2 games against Toronto on Friday and Saturday of next week. I don't know. I mean, those are all games where you would say that Buffalo is going to have a hard time, especially if mentally they're still in the tank. So if this is a bad performance against Ottawa, this is going to be a very, I mean, we're going to be in 14-game losing streak territory potentially, I think. This game, I think, functions as a big turning point. It could either springboard them into their Atlantic Division slate, or it could connect to the previous 3 games and create a malaise that is going to stay with them through this slate, which could, I mean, that could make the season basically dead on arrival. So you hesitate to say that this is a season-defining game or a game where the season's on the line. It is only game 4. But if the Sabres come out flat again with all the lineup changes and Benson coming back, then I think it could be a very, very bad sign for the rest of the year. If the Sabres come out, they play well, they play a really good game, and they win, then you're right there. And you're going to have a shot to make some hay in the division, and you'll have a chance to stabilize your position. So this is a big game, not just in the sense that it gets you points, but it's a big game in the sense that it could help build up a positive mindset for these guys heading into their Atlantic Division slate. This is a very, very critical game, I think, for the Sabres to find a way to win, and to find a way to not just win, but to play very well. This game could end up defining the early part of the season. It could be the thing that ignites them, or it could be the thing that sends them to oblivion. So this is a big turning point in what is already a knife's edge season. So this is one that I know we're all frustrated. I know it's been tough, but I would give them, if you're a Sabres fan, I would give them this one more game. And if they lay an egg here, maybe you don't watch for a while, because it might get ugly. But we'll always be watching here. You can count on that. So we'll always have the news and notes and results and highlights and whatever you need for the Buffalo Sabres. We'll have it here for you. Along with that, we will be live streaming Wednesday night's game against Ottawa here on the channel. So if you want to stop by and say hi, we'll be happy to have you. Yeah, looking forward to enjoying enjoying the game with you all, and we'll see you then. So thank you all so much for watching. What do you think about the lineup moves? What do you think about the guys coming back from injury potentially? Will it make a difference, or are the Sabres already too far gone in this young season? Please let me know your thoughts down below. We'll talk about it as always. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want more Sabres content, please consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you here. So as always, go Sabres. Bye-bye.